Why should people vote for you?
Right. What we need is a lot better public safety, right? We need to make sure that we're taking care of our Chicago residents, our Chicago citizens, and so we need proper law and order. So things like the Safety Act are creating problems because we're letting violent criminals back out. Same thing here, where we have illegal aliens who are violent criminals. We should be handing them over to the federal authorities. Just go straight from the local authorities right to the federal authorities. Then we wouldn't have to have ICE chasing people on the street. So I say that Governor Pritzker should just cooperate with the federal authorities, hand the criminals over, and there'd be much more peace.
So that's what you're running for, Governor?
Yes, sir.
Well, how you feel about Pritzker?
I think Pritzker's the one fomenting a lot of the violence because he's the one that's calling, instead of working with federal authorities, right, instead of just handing over the bad guys directly to the federal authorities, he's not doing that. He's putting the bad guys back out on the street. ICE is forced to chase them. ICE is creating chaos on the streets because of that. And everybody would be safer if Pritzker would do that. And then what else Pritzker's doing is he's calling ICE names. He's calling them jackbooted thugs. He's calling them racist. He's calling them all kinds of names. And that's not right either. And that's helping foment a lot of the violence that's happening. Yeah. And so everybody's upset. Yeah. And if they would just let ICE do their job, if we cooperate with ICE, things would be a lot better here in Chicago. And we need to put the bad guys behind bars.
So what you mean straight from local authorities to federal authorities?
So if you know there's a violent criminal, a criminal that's created a crime, an illegal alien, he's created a crime. Right now, Pritzker's laws, which were done by Governor Rauner, those laws don't allow the local authorities to cooperate with the federal authorities. And that's the problem, because if local authorities could just hand over in cuffs directly to federal authorities.
So are we talking about CPD?
Yeah, right, CPD or any local
I'm saying because, I'm just as confused by that because the Illinois State Police be here.
Yeah, I don't know, but what it should be is it doesn't matter. It can be state or local. It doesn't matter.
So you think the local authorities should be rounding these people up instead of...
No, they already have them. They have them. Oftentimes they have them in the jail, and then instead of handing them over to the federal authorities, because they're not allowed to tell ICE that they have a bad guy behind bars. And so those bad guys go
Even
out.
if that guy's illegal, they're not allowed to tell
Correct.
them? Oh, I didn't know that.
And this is the problem with the law. This is why we have this sanctuary state law. This should be wiped out. Right? They don't do this. They don't do this in Indiana. Indiana local authorities have to. They're required to hand over bad guys. Local and state authorities are required to hand over bad guys to the federal authorities.
So that's what you mean when
Florida.
you say letting them back out on the streets, they getting out of the jails and right back on the street.
Exactly.
Then
ICE goes and has to chase them. That's not fair to ICE. It's not fair. It makes things more dangerous. And look what happens here. You have chaos. Governor Pritzker can stop this chaos right now if he just cooperated with federal authorities. But he won't. You know why? Because he's running for president. He hates Trump, and he's doing all this chaos for his own presidential ambitions. And if he would just cooperate, we'd be done.
So you think he's doing this to have the people on his side to help his presidential bid?
That's all you can think. What else can you think? Because why wouldn't he? In Florida, in Indiana, in Tennessee, they hand over bad guys directly from the local police, jails to the federal authorities.
Is them all red states?
You know what? It is required. They're required to work with federal authorities. Here in Illinois, we have the exact opposite. It's prohibited to work with federal authorities, and that's backwards. And that hurts everybody in this community.
As a Republican, do you really think you can win the race for governor in Illinois?
I think I can, absolutely. I mean, look, there's a lot of people who are unhappy. Pritzker's had 7 years to. You look at the property taxes, right? You're having. I don't know if you saw the bonfires they're having on property taxes on the west side.
I'm from the west side.
Yeah, I mean, they're skyrocketing in West Garfield Park, in North Lawndale. They're skyrocketing, and people are upset. So they're burning the property tax bill, right? We're not creating jobs here in Illinois. We're not creating jobs. It makes it tough.
What you gonna do different?
Do the opposite of what Pritzker does.
That's
exactly.
funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do the exact opposite. We're going to lower property tax bills. Right? We're going to stop. We have so many problems in Illinois. We're not creating jobs. Right?
I agree.
We're not building new housing units, and so people are struggling with housing. There's a huge opportunity to make this state great again, and right now it's a mess.
What about crime in Chicago? What's gonna do?
Oh my gosh! And the Safety Act. Right? When we have a person who does something wrong, they should be behind bars.
Could you explain to me what the Safety Act is?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, the Safety Act is a new law that's passed that effectively many crimes people don't have to don't have to stay in jail. They're allowed for pretrial. There's also, we ended cash bail, so there's no more cash bail anymore, and so more and more people are out on the street. So you got people who are felons back out on the street committing crimes again. This is happening over and over again. I don't know if you saw the story of the lady who was burning the CTA the other day.
Yeah, I saw that.
The guy who committed that crime has been arrested. Well, I've seen 2 reports: 49 times before, and 10 felonies, or 72 times before. That guy should be, the judge, let the person out, let the bad guy out on a ankle bracelet, and then later on they let him off the ankle bracelet, and we're letting people back out. So you got to get back to law and order, right? We stop police chases, you stop car chases, foot chases, car chases.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things we can do, and you know who the victims are, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from that type of area. Yeah.
The victims are a lot of the blacks and the Hispanics.
Yeah.
90% of victims are blacks and Hispanics. So
yeah.
Why isn't Governor Pritzker protecting the victims? Why is he protecting the criminals? Same thing for Johnson. Why are they protecting the criminals? Why aren't they protecting the victims? And that's the question that everybody needs to ask. And that's why I think Pritzker's vulnerable. He's not taking care of people. He's not controlling the cost of things. Everything's skyrocketing. He doubled the gas tax. He's not creating jobs.
Do you have any idea?
He's got a culture of things that people don't like what he's doing in schools with all the DEI and things like that. So it's a mess. So I think it's a big opportunity.
Yeah. So if he's going to run for president, one more question. If he's going to run for president, do you have any idea who you might be running against?
No, he's running for governor and president. So he's going to use the governorship. He's going to use the governorship to run for president, and that's what's wrong, because he doesn't care about Illinois.